Different opinions, and of course, great conversation. So today we're getting personal, making it all about me. And I've heard some rumors that even our favorite sodas, well, maybe they're making us fat.
Yeah,
they're definitely making us fat.
Yeah, well, if you look at the calorie content in one bottle, like 20 ounce or whatever it is, bottle of soda, it's like upwards of 250 to 290 or 300 calories.
Okay, but I drink diet, and that says 0.
But it's still sugar content in there.
And then it's Splenda or something
but
like
it changes the amount of sugar that you need from
Yeah.
other things. So you always want something to be extra sweet.
Sweet,
so,
yeah.
Right.
You know, your desserts, you might think oh no, it needs more sweetener in it or that kind of thing. And I worry about sweeteners too because
Yeah.
I think long term, because
They
people
have
who eat
long-term effects,
drink
yeah.
diet sodas, I know people who consume like 10 cans of diet soda because they think
it's
zero
okay.
calories.
They really do. If you see somebody who drinks a lot of soda and they'll say, well, it's diet, and I can drink 10 cans of it, but really, in reality, it's really not a good idea.
You don't know what those chemicals are.
Exactly. I
You're not
understand
drinking
it affects your metabolism in a way that it
Right.
makes you not understand that your body's full.
Yeah.
Right.
And that, you know, that you're satisfied. So I
So you eat
You know
more.
what?
want
It's
my
very
soda.
hard.
So you
It's
eat more.
very hard to just cut, soda. I
know
think the
yeah.
way to do it is to do it very gradually so
Yeah.
that you don't miss it so much. I think you have to literally cut it down slowly.
Kim, do you drink soda?
No, I don't. And one thing too, I think as a parent, you don't give your
No.
kids soda
No.
at
No.
all.
Don't give it to
Don't let
your
them get
kid.
used
Maybe
to
birthday
it. Yeah.
parties, or especially, but I do not have soda in my house. And I think as a parent, you have to set an example so your children can be stronger.
I
as
agree.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
But you
too.
know what
Yeah, I
a
don't
good
know.
substitute for soda is too, because a lot of times we just crave that carbonation in the soda. It's not really like the sugary part of the soda. You can get it from like drinking like soda waters or mineral waters that have
Right.
like bubbly
Right.
fizz.
Sparkling water.
Because I've turned over to that and it's curbed my craving for soda. Like I don't
Well,
drink
I
soda
also
anymore.
found that a lot of times, like at 3 o'clock, I crave my can of Coke. But what I was finding was I was really just dehydrated at that time.
Yeah.
So I was
happens
so
too.
dehydrated and I wanted something fizzy in my mouth.
Right.
But once I started drinking water, I know my sister's, she's a big Coke fiend, and she's like, if I want Coke, water is not going to do it for
Right.
me.
Yeah.
But that's the
It's
first
tough.
week.
Yeah.
But by the second week, third week,
Your
you
body
start getting
adjusts.
used
You
to
do.
it.
Like
Yeah.
I said, you've
Right.
got to gradually cut it because otherwise you feel like you're depriving yourself and you're just going to hate doing it and you're not going to
Yeah.
want to do it. You're just not going to do
Well,
it.
speaking of not wanting to do it, what
Right.
about the ban in New York City? They're banning the
Right.
extra supersized soda. And
I think
people
it's
are
awesome.
Yeah,
They
I
should
think so, too.
ban
Yeah.
supersize everything. We don't need it.
Everything
Yeah.
in
Oh,
moderation.
Yeah, we don't have
Right,
self-control.
right.
But what do you
That's the
think
food.
about people who are like, well, people are just going to go back and get 2 or get more refills, and
Some
they're
people
going to spend
are,
more
but
money?
some people
or,
aren't, because a lot of times when we want fast food for a reason. Like
Or
we're on
when
the
we
go,
want soda,
so we're
we want
moving.
soda.
Right.
Right.
food.
But at the
Sometimes.
end of the day, it might be
Yeah.
making us a little bigger.
It's all about
Right. It
discipline.
is.
I knew somebody too about the fast food thing. Is like, I don't have time. Why don't you make your lunch? Just
Right.
make your lunch. He goes, I don't have time to make my lunch. I go, but you have time to take 45 minutes to go drive and get fast food and feed your body crap,
Right.
and you take 20 or 30 minutes and make a nice healthy lunch.
It does taste
Right.
But with the New York City ban too, people are so up in arms about, you should let the businesses decide and let consumers make that choice
Right.
for themselves. But I think what people don't understand is that the choice was taken away from consumers a long time ago. It was when, because soda is so cheap. So
Yeah.
basically they would say, hey, we'll supersize your drink for you.
Yeah.
It costs them like 5 cents.
Right.
But just give us $1. We'll supersize your drink. We'll supersize your hamburger.
fries,
We're
everything.
not dumb. We're like, if I can get double the food and drink for $1 more, I'm not dumb. I'm
Right.
going to do for it.
And you know what, too,
But our
that's
choice is
that's the
taken
whole
away
thing
then.
of changing the
Right.
thought process, because we do think like that. We'll buy something and go, I don't want to waste money. But sometimes it's better to waste money
It
to
is.
save your
We'll
body.
talk more
course,
about this
yeah.
now that we've
Yes.
broken down what we're drinking. After the break, we'll break down what we're eating. Here on Every Way Woman.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Every Way Woman.
Ladies, it's time to have an open dialogue about organic food. Is it really better for us than non-organics? Sunita, what do you think about that?
Well, I think people think, well, if I'm having organic, then it's so much healthier and it's so much better. it's the same food,
Right.
you know. So
It
I
is.
know
The
the studies are saying that it has the same nutrients,
Yeah.
and the pesticide content isn't that much different. But what they did find with that study that was released recently is that there are a few more antioxidants in some of the organic foods.
Right.
So I think you have to pick and choose
What
which
you wanna
organic
do.
foods you're going to go for, and what's worth it to spend
Right.
the extra money. Like for me, you know, I don't necessarily always, you know, for some fruits I'll go organic if they taste better sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes they do. Yeah.
But for my baby, like, you know, I spend a lot of extra money on organic milk for him and organic eggs because I don't
But
know what's in the other milk.
You're not worth the extra price.
You know
Why
what? I
are you
just
spending the extra money on
Because
your
I
sister
feel-
to eat organic?
Organic milk tastes so much better.
Right.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it's a
and it
lot.
does
It's
Really?
very
It's very
expensive.
expensive.
It's very
But you know what,
expensive.
too? It's also about
yeah.
knowing how to pick and choose with organic because, in all honesty, like if it's a banana or something that's already covered and you peel off the outside and you're eating the inside, it's not being, you know, pesticide, you know.
But I heard you
so-
have to not eat the tip. The pesticides are right in the tip of the banana.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
But
eat
it's
the ends.
true.
I don't like the ends
Okay,
anyway.
but what
That's
are
good.
the other organics that you're saying you have to be careful of? Non-organic.
Well,
versus
it's just that,
organic?
like, as far as having to spend the extra money for organic, if
Exactly.
the food, if it's a covered fruit or produce, you don't have to necessarily get organic because
Like
it's not being
avocado or something.
covered with pesticides anyway. Because you're taking off the peeling of an orange and eating it, so you can mix and match it so that way you're not spending so much money.
Okay.
You
Because
know,
some people
maybe
go
buy an
for
There's a
organic
difference
apple.
now if you're going to make a salad,
Right.
And you're getting things like lettuce and things like that you know you're going to just wash and then put in your salad.
Right.
That might make a difference.
But I think it's the stores like Whole Foods, you know, they've been around for a
Oh,
while.
yeah.
And they make people think that if you buy all of our products, then you're going to be healthy.
Right.
Don't buy those other products. They're not. And this study does turn
It
that.
is a
You know what I
mixed
find
exception.
so
So you have to be a
interesting?
good
Right.
consumer.
But you know what's so interesting is I
Yeah.
see all these people going in and out of Whole Foods or any of these organic, healthy food stores, right? Eating organically,
Right.
and then drinking, smoking.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
Right.
like they're just
Or-
undoing
Right,
all this
everything they do. Or the people who
Right,
go
yeah.
in Whole Foods and buy candy and say it's good because it's organic.
Right.
It's candy.
Yeah.
It's still candy.
But in general, I mean, you know, a lot of fruits and vegetables, they just don't have any flavor anymore. I mean,
Right.
I
A lot
think
of them are dummy
that's
down,
a reason
yeah.
why people are going for more of like
I think
Organic
a
taste.
really
I
important
agree.
issue to remember is just to, if you can, just try to eat healthy.
Exactly.
You know, start out by eating healthy, whether it's organic or not. I think you can just at least make the effort, you know, to start somewhere and try to eat a little more healthy. That's all.
Yeah, I agree.
For more tips on eating healthy and organics, check out everywaywoman.com. Stay tuned. More after the break.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Everyway Woman.
Taylor Townsend is all over the media for more reasons than one. Jackie, you've seen all about it. Not only is she world-renowned tennis player.
Yeah, she's ranked number 1 in the women's juniors competition. But the whole I guess dispute is that she wasn't invited to the U.S. Open in New York.
Tell us why.
So, what they're leaning towards, the claims are, is that it's because of her weight. Because when she asked why she wasn't invited, they told her, well, she needs to focus on her weight because she's a little heavier. But not everybody is a size 0.
Right.
Well,
That's
I
true.
also read claims that it was released that she has a low iron count and that the
Well, she could also have an
council said
illness.
they wanted her to
Right.
focus on her health
I think
before
that
she
that's a
performed.
smokescreen, to
It
be
is.
honest with
I think
you.
so too,
Yes,
yeah.
I really
right.
think it's
Yeah.
a smokescreen
Right,
because
yeah.
if they were to come out and say you're too heavy or you're a little overweight,
It looks bad.
Right.
that isn't going to look good for everybody else. So I think that really kind of, you know.
So it's like, oh, your steroids are okay, but
Right.
you need a little more iron.
Yeah, there
we
you
can't let you play
go.
because of
There
iron.
you go.
And then
I mean,
true.
that's a little
And,
ridiculous.
Exactly.
But you know what? The best thing for Taylor Townsend is the success of Serena Williams. Because
Yes.
Serena
She's
Williams
not
is
your
not a
average.
size 0.
No.
And, you know, they had that picture, there was a picture, I think, on the New Yorker magazine or
Right.
New York Post where it had Venus and Serena side by side. And Serena is a powerhouse.
Yes,
I mean,
she is.
her arms, like my husband's scared of her arms because they are so
Right.
buff.
You know what I find
done.
very
But she's
fascinating, though, is this recent trend for female athletes that are getting criticized for being overweight. Now, we've seen this for years in the fashion industry
Yeah.
and for, you know, actresses and celebrity. This cause for women to be fit and skinny. And now we're seeing this action towards athletes. I find it really sad that now
Yeah.
these women athletes are just having to face these same.
It's like if they can
Right.
compete, what is the problem?
Right,
there? I
right.
mean, is
And
it
if
just
she's
that there's
ranked number 1, that's
Yeah.
crazy that you would turn down someone because she doesn't
Right.
look the part.
They're
And you also
stereotypes.
have to consider like ethnicity. Not every, like a lot of times African American women or women of different ethnicities tend to be a little thicker naturally, even if they're in shape, like super tip-top shape,
Well,
and not
Kim,
just.
you're
Right,
very
right. Well,
athletic. How do you feel about this?
I feel good.
Well,
yeah,
you feel good,
think
but I
have
mean,
to-
relating to her as an athlete.
Oh yeah, no, and I think that was wrong what they did, and I thought that about it too is how of course she had to advance and pay out her pay her way through,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they realized well we'll pay your way now after she
has
was
somebody
winning.
heard about
yeah.
that? Oh, no, we were
Well,
always
it's the
gonna cover
publicity
it.
machine took
Right,
over, and it became a
right.
big ordeal now, and it's a big issue.
Yeah.
Now it's coming into play a different way.
Well,
Exactly,
and the
yeah.
Williams sisters have really paved the way for her because, I know beginning of their career they did, talk a
Have a
lot
lot.
about racism and discrimination, and people just thought, oh, those two are troublemakers, they're just
Right.
causing waves, and they had a really hard time coming up
did,
through the
yeah.
ranks,
Right.
and now you're kind of seeing with Taylor that, you know what, they probably were going through a lot of those hard times.
Oh, I think so.
And that's
Yeah.
why.
The bottom line,
you know,
though, is the girl is talented. She's
Exactly.
very
Very
talented.
talented,
She's
yeah.
very strong-willed, especially, being such a young woman.
and
She's
she's
got a
not going to
great
be quiet about this.
No.
Right, she's not. She didn't take it
No.
sitting down. In fact,
Yeah,
she said that
she's
they
made
did
it-
blow it out of proportion.
Yeah.
She
Gave her
said
that chip on her shoulder. Sometimes we need that, is what we.
And I hope she
Right,
sticks
so.
into the
Yeah.
USTA.
Yes.
To be quite honest.
Because
Yeah.
the only thing is, they're probably thinking, well, I don't know if she looks good enough in a skirt, so is she going
Right.
to sell the UTA for or
Right.
Yeah.
USTA?
Right.
Can she be branded? Can she make money? Can she be sexified
Right.
at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
It always
it's
goes back to
Yeah,
that.
we
More
come
than
down
meets
to
the
that
eye,
again.
as they say.
It's always more than meets the eye.
Exactly.
Stay tuned. More after the break here on Every Way Woman.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Every Way Woman.
It's time to put you on a 2-minute blast. Friends, you've put us through the ringer with all your weddings, and ladies, sometimes we just can't say no. Kim?
You're right. We can't say no, but I think when it comes to the gifts that are the most costly part, you're going to get a very light congratulation gift from me the first time. But if you make it 5 years or 10 years, I'm going to give you a bigger gift.
I'm not
And
going to think about you. I'm going to give you a high five and be
There
like,
you go. I think that I really think that the gifting is just I've known
Right.
too
I
many
think-
people.
Yeah, it's tough. I think a lot of young people today, of course, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're dealt with a lot of weddings from your friends and your family members and things like that.
I go broke during
It
wedding
is,
season.
and
Yeah.
it's not just the wedding gift, but you've got to get a hotel room. You may have
the
to fly out
travel,
of town.
Travel.
I mean,
and don't be a
take
bridesmaid.
clothes,
Right,
wardrobe.
and then you got to buy the dress.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
talking about a lot of money, maybe over $500 for a young person coming out of college.
That's a
It's-
lot.
That's a
It
big
is
chunk
a
of
lot,
money.
yeah.
I know.
It
I
is.
remember looking
Absolutely.
at a credit card statement it showed my yearly balance and each month broken down in months. And the month I had a friend's wedding that
Right.
was a destination wedding, it was just skyrocket. It was like
It is. It's
towering
tough.
over all the
Brides
other months.
expect a lot out of their girlfriends, especially if
They
you're in
do.
a wedding party. By
Right.
the time you go to the bachelorette
party, yes.
one
The
or two
spa day,
showers,
yeah.
the spa day, the day before the wedding, the rehearsal dinner. I mean, it's like racking it up.
Yeah.
Jackie,
Right.
you say no.
Keep
Yes.
it simple.
I
you
say
do it
I can
nicely.
say no to weddings. One, I have an advantage. Most of my family's from the East Coast. I live in the West now, so that's
Okay.
an easy one. But yeah, I don't really enjoy weddings in general. Like, I feel like the ceremony is long and tedious sometimes. It's this big pomp and circumstance. And at the end, like, all you get is like a dinner plate, and like you said, a broken wallet. So I'm not a huge fan. However, I like the reception part because that's the party part. It's like,
Jackie likes a party.
Yeah.
You know,
I
let
like
a
a
verdict
simple
say,
wedding,
it's
right.
Getting the Visa bill or the MasterCard bill
Right.
isn't.
No,
Yeah.
no, bills are not fun.
Well, I can't say no to weddings. I have to go.
But it's
Yeah,
okay.
that's
You can say no. And for maybe a few tips on how to do so, check out the website everywaywoman.com. Stay tuned.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Every Way Woman.
Hey, ladies, you're watching Every Way Woman. So let's chat. Public proposals, Sandra. What do you think?
Well,
Are you
you're put
for
on the spot. Let's put it where it is. I mean, you know, literally, if you're out and your fiance to be is going to propose to you in a ballpark with, you know, 40,000 people, and you're on camera,
And they're going, yes,
and they're
yes,
going, yes, you know, I think you're under the gun a little bit. And you're going to say yes, but yet when you get out of the parking lot, you know, and you're going to say, oh my God, what did I just do? So.
Well, if you
Exactly.
feel
Yes,
forced,
she
should
was.
you be there with the guy anyway? Honestly,
Right.
like, should you be dating a man
Right.
in public, alone, in a romantic situation that you wouldn't say yes?
Well, I don't know if a ballpark is you go into it thinking it's a romantic
ballpark,
situation.
no.
Hopefully, those couples are the ones that, you know, they've already talked about
about
it,
it.
planned the
But
wedding,
there was,
and they just
there
needed
was
something
one that was
extravagant.
done at the ballpark, and she said no, and
Oh,
everybody was booing her. So I remember seeing it, and I thought, oh my gosh, good for you, you stood up
Yeah.
for yourself.
That would
You
be
know,
far and few between.
But you
It-
know
it
what,
would
too,
be
Justin,
different.
to talk about what you just said, like, shouldn't you? Sometimes something could have gone wrong at a certain point, and that made the the decision. Sorry, not to say yes.
Have you ever
know,
seen
yeah.
a public proposal?
Yeah, not in real life, but I mean on TV.
Right, I
yeah,
do too,
yeah,
on TV,
yeah,
yeah.
just
I've
on
seen a
TV.
few in real life.
I've seen
Yeah.
both.
Have
I've
you?
seen
Really?
one that was yes and one that was no, and the one that was no wasn't a ballpark.
Is it fair? Is
I
it
was
fair
like,
on
whoa.
the woman to do
Yeah.
in public? Do you think, Sunita, is it fair?
Well,
To
you
say
know,
no?
I don't think it's
No, I
fair.
mean for the man to even propose in general. Is it fair?
obviously it's a
No, I
romantic
don't think it's fair.
gesture.
Yeah, because you're really putting her on the spot.
You
Well,
are.
no, I think it
that's-
is. I
you
think it
are.
depends. But here's the
Yeah.
thing:
Yeah.
if you're if you've communicated properly through
Yes.
your and appropriately throughout your relationship, you should know where you stand.
Exactly.
So you should know that it's time to get married. And if you get married, you like propose to somebody in public, and they say no, you shouldn't be surprised because you did something.
Yeah, but you know, in relationships, communication is not always clear, and he might think you're in a
Then that's
whole
not a
different
good
level.
relationship.
But if it's a
Right.
good relationship, I mean, wouldn't you feel thrilled that someone went to all
Yes,
this
I would
trouble?
love that.
And that would be a day you would never ever forget. So
yeah.
you know what? There are good
Yeah,
things
in
about
most
it, but I'm
cases,
sure.
I would say in
I'm
most
sure.
cases that's the scenario.
But I always do wonder about the ones where you know
you do.
They just need
do
to
the
know.
next day they're like, oh yeah, by the way, no, we're not
Right.
doing
They
that.
should just faint,
That was
just pass
fun.
out.
Yeah,
When he says it,
exactly.
just pass
That's
out.
how I would do.
Right.
I'd be like, yeah, sure, yeah, no way.
Yeah, I guess say no or say yes and then
Say
say
yes
no.
there.
Right.
Or just
later.
faint. Don't even
Right.
say anything. Pass out on the floor.
That's good.
Just say, all you say is, I'm speechless.
Yeah,
I don't know what to say.
I don't know if he did it.
Yeah, there you go.
Just start
Yeah,
crying
I
and
did-
bawling.
I think
Right.
it does put her on the spot though.
Right.
It does. You're
yeah,
married. How did he propose?
I actually proposed to him.
So
Dive right in.
that
It was over a
situation.
cup of tea. We had lived together, and he wanted a cup of tea, and I said, "I'll get up and get you a cup of tea only if you marry me." And he's
Aw,
like,
how cute.
"Okay." And I'm like, "Did he just say okay?" It's like,
Oh, no.
I know.
So that was all planned
Yeah,
out. You didn't even
exactly.
have the ring
Yeah.
and the teacup or anything. You got off easy.
I did. That's right.
How would you want him to do it, Jackie?
However he feels like it's good for us. Whatever he comes
Your
up with.
dream.
'Cause
No,
I like
no, your
creativity.
dream. Your dream.
Well, see, I don't like a lot of pomp and circumstance. So for me,
simple.
it doesn't have to be super big. It's just whatever. Like, if you do something that's characteristic of my personality, that shows me that you know me. So I would love that.
Well, honestly, I did say no the first time my
Oh,
husband.
Breaker.
I forgot about it, but I just realized I said no the
You
first
said
time.
no?
My husband, he did it perfectly too. He didn't buy me a ring. He bought me a camera, and he said the sweetest thing. He's like, "I want you to have this camera to document all the memories that we're gonna have." It was a beautiful gesture, but that day I'd come home from work. It was my birthday. I was for some reason, a bad mood. We were in my room. That was a mess. And I was just like, nah, you got to do this over again.
Yeah, we do.
And I just made it hard for him. And in the end, I didn't, he just ended up, he cleaned up my apartment. And I knew that was his gesture.
Oh, that was
And
sweet.
it was just, so amazing.
Right.
So
You'll never
I
forget
did
that.
say no, and I regret it. I still said yes in the end.
I'm glad you finally said
Yes.
yes in the
I
end.
made it hard for him.
We put these poor men through.
I know.
We'll be back with more happy endings here on Every Way Woman. Stay tuned. Oh, that is sweet.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Every Way Woman.
Every Way Woman is excited to welcome to our show a very special guest, Sheila Veers, the co-founder of Live Well 360. Welcome, Sheila.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Now, Sheila, Oprah has, documented her struggle with yo-yo dieting and really talking about emotional eating. And your organization is helping women with emotional eating. Tell us about that.
Basically, I help to teach women that emotional eating isn't a disorder or something that you have to feel guilty about. It's something that we all do at some points in our life.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and really the thing is to just use it as an indicator and pay attention when you are emotionally eating to say, okay, what's happening in my life right now that I need to pay attention to where I'm looking to food for comfort, and how can I fill that void with more happiness, more joy, and do things that I can bring into my life that will make it more enjoyable, so that I can stop turning to food for comfort.
And do you think it's because people are under a lot of stress these days, and people are really not having a lot of pleasurable things in their life, and they're stressed for many different reasons? I think maybe that could contribute to that, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, people are under a great amount of stress, and I think that food is an easy thing to turn to because it's very easily accessible, and so it's a quick fix, and so we just keep going, and it's.
Let's rewind to your personal experience.
Because people look at you and they're like, she's not emotional eating. What does she know about this?
I've been there. I mean, that's really where my passion comes for this subject. I started dieting back when I was 15, and I had, the whole gamut of self-esteem issues, and then I also had physical issues too. I had food intolerances and hormonal issues, and I was just all out of whack, and it all came back to my emotions, and really that's what helped me to be able to lose 35 pounds and keep it off for the long term.
You look great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
It's
It's working
So
for
what
you.
was the turning
Thank you.
point? When did you decide I need to get this in check?
I had been setting goals and losing weight and dieting like
you.
crazy.
That's good.
But then I got there, and then I realized that I had created this sort of prison for myself because I was so afraid to eat anything outside of what I had deemed like the perfect things
Which
to
happens
eat.
to a lot of
Foods,
teenagers
bad
out there.
Right.
A lot of teenage
Yes.
girls,
Right. So what
see
exactly.
themselves like
What
that.
advice would you give to someone who's trying to do a whole lifestyle change, like versus dieting and all the other stuff, the fads? Like, what advice?
I would say that, if you are going to diet, that can be a catalyst for people. That can be the first step because it helps you to really focus and so forth. But the diet is not the long-term solution. The long-term solution is really getting to the issues that are the underlying foundation of why, you're feeling bad about yourself, why, you're not taking good care of yourself, which is really what it's all about.
It's a long-term commitment, I think, that you make, to doing that. A life, changing commitment that you have to stick to.
Well, speaking of life-changing and lifestyle, you have a cookbook.
I do.
Correct?
Yes, it's called Eat Well 360, and basically it's all about learning how to make foods that are the comfort foods healthy. And so that's what I've gone through, and I have 141 plus recipes of all my favorite healthy comfort food.
So not the Paula Deen version, right?
Right.
Okay, so break it down. Give me your top 3 favorite recipes.
I have a recipe for oatmeal that is a German chocolate cake oatmeal recipe to have in the morning.
Ooh.
I have,
Who doesn't want cake for breakfast?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing. It's finding ways to really eat foods that are both nourishing and satisfying. And when you do that, then it makes healthy eating just a part of who you are, and it's just a lifestyle that you can manage and do it for the long term.
So if I have cake for breakfast, what am I having for lunch?
There's a recipe for, let me think, there's a meatloaf recipe, a turkey meatloaf recipe that is outstanding. It's out of this world, and it just has like a little bit of tomato sauce on top, and the onions are the secret because when you cook it with onions, it makes it really moist.
And dinner, what do we have for dinner, right?
I have a tilapia recipe that has, it's like crusted in nuts and a little bit of flour that just kind of makes it like it's, the breaded, like a breading like you would have, at a restaurant or something like that.
Sounds tasty.
So, I mean, are you a personal chef, or were you a cook? How did you develop these recipes?
With my husband, he's not a chef either, but we both just have a passion for eating food. We just love food, and we wanted to make foods that we really felt good about putting into our body, and so we got creative and trial and error until we came up with recipes that were just really fabulous, and people love them. All our friends are like, "Oh my God, you have to make that our next."
That's
barbecue.
awesome.
Do you have anything spicy? Because that's sometimes what I run into. I love spice, I love flavor, and sometimes I turn to the healthy recipes. I'm like, I love kale chips and all, but I can't have them every single day. I need something with a little bit more oomph. So do you have things that are spicy? And
We have like a turkey chili recipe. There's a couple that have a little bit of spice to them. But that's just, your own personal preference. So you just find spices that you really enjoy using and then, get creative with it. I think that's the biggest thing is that really finding, what works for you. And that's how you make it that long-term lifestyle, because
Things
it's something
you can feel good about.
yeah, and it's so personal, because it's like there are so many blueprints out there that you can, pick up, and it says this is what you're supposed to do to be healthy, but it might not be the exact right fit for you.
I think it's important, really, we're talking about, maybe men and women here who do this, but, the kids too can start early on and realize that at an early age, that they're eating this for a reason. And, maybe we can even get our kids to recognize some of these
Not
things
like,
too.
yuck, Brussels sprouts.
Right,
Wanna
right,
hide them.
exactly.
Well, thank you so much for being here. For more information, you can find us at everywaywoman.com for Live Well 360. Stay tuned.
This has been an Everyway Woman production.